Looking at the Marines. Then Scuderia Italia.
When you come to Kvarner, treat yourself to an experience you will remember. Enjoy the luxurious ambience. Experience superior service. Indulge in endless pleasures. The pearl of the tourism offer in the pearl of the Adriatic. Liburnia, Hotels and Villas.
Welcome along to the Circuit Zolder, where the NASCAR GP of Belgium is taking place. The conditions this weekend are best described as mixed. It was sunny and drying when we left you. And as you can see, the clouds are very evident overhead at the Circuit Zolder on this afternoon. Just 13 degrees Celsius as well. Not a lot of ambient temperature to warm up the track surface with. A championship is at stake this weekend. Our four title contenders are burrowed down the order, however, and there was only one answer to the question of whose game it was here at Zolder, and that was Paul Giuffreau, yeah. Paul Giuffreau was in charge of qualifying this morning. Paul Giuffreau with pole in EuroNASCAR Pro. He'll be starting this race on pole position. He'll also be starting the EuroNASCAR 2 race on pole position. It was a really good morning for the RDV competition driver. And he is looking to try and convert this into yet another EuroNASCAR Pro Race victory. Of course, Paul Giuffreau, not a factor really in the title contendership here. He hasn't done the full season, of course, in EuroNASCAR Pro. However, he is fighting for the championship in EN2. In EuroNASCAR Pro, it is Gianmarco Ercoli that leads the championship on 285 points. He's just 4 points clear of Vittorio Gorelli. Lucas Lestaire, 21 points back. Anthony Kumpen, the only championship contender to qualify outside of the top 10 this morning. He starts from 11th place. And he will be 20.3 points off and looking to work his way through the order quickly. Liam Hasemans, who's got an outside shot at the championship if things go his way. Well, certainly it didn't go his way in qualifying. The junior trophy points leader will start from 18th on the grid today, and Vladimiros Siotzis is starting in 6th place, so the junior trophy points could sway away from Hasemans. Fabrizio Armetta is your challenger trophy points leader. Well, the grid is already awash with people, with fans, with invited guests. One of the most exciting elements of a EuroNASCAR weekend is the ability to get up close and personal with the drivers, which Andre is doing with our pole sitter.
Thank you so much, Adam. I'm here with Paul Giuffreau, but we have to look a little bit into the sky because when I put my hand out, I feel a little bit of rain coming up here.
Yes, so yeah, we cannot change anything, so we just have to take the race as it comes. And yeah, I think the first lap will be tricky, and yeah, I don't know if it will get worse or if it will stay like that. But yeah, for sure there is some rain, and it will be, I think, like the quali in terms of the weather conditions. So we will see. We were confident with those conditions, so I'm happy that there is a little bit of rain.
But I saw also on the inside lane, on the right side of the track, you go there on the ideal line to get to the next corner, so it's more dry there than on the outside, but you're going to start on the outside here.
Yeah, but I took at the right because the next turn is at the left, so to be at the outside. So yeah, it will be a start as usual. The inside line will brake late, and the outside line will try to exit really fast. So this will be a normal start, I think. Yeah, the best thing is to be in front of the outside row before the apex. If we are at the same side, it will be difficult because the next turn is at the right. So we will see.
This beautiful Chevrolet Camaro with the number 3 is also going to be raced. Huh? Mustang. Oh, sorry. Oh, God, it's always changing. This car is going to be the same in EuroNASCAR 2. Now you're racing in EuroNASCAR Pro, but your focus will be EuroNASCAR 2. How much risk are you willing to put into the Pro race?
Last time I said that I did not take risk, and yeah, the guys on TV say that I said that I will not take risk, and I took a bit of risk. But yeah, as a racing driver, you don't want to take risk, but you always take a bit of risk. So I just want to look at the car now, and I want that this car is the same at the end of those 18 laps. so I just want that. And the position, we played the team championship, so I just want to be in front of Ercoli because we are fighting for the team championship. It's the main objective, but the win is not the thing that I want the most. I want the most is to get the car perfect for the EuroNASCAR 2 race.
Perfect, merci beaucoup. Back to you, Adam.
Only one thing to say if you think Paul Giuffreau is going to make it easy for anyone to pass him, and that is nana. Absolutely not. He's not going to make it easy for anyone, least of which his fellow front row starter Claudio Capelli, my apologies, Giorgio Maggi, to get past him. Great day so far for the 18 Race Art Technology crew, both Maggi in EuroNASCAR Pro and Claudio Capelli in EuroNASCAR 2 with strong starting positions. And Giorgio Maggi getting one of his better opportunities of the season from the front row of the grid. It's been a difficult year for Giorgio at times. He's had more than his fair share of drama. Let's see if he can make all things right again in this weekend. We've seen his immense potential numerous times over the years, and he'd very much like to get a good weekend on the board here at Zolder. Lucas Lasser, of course, on the second row of the grid. He's the first of the title contenders, the primary title contenders. Of course, there are all manner of drivers able to still technically win this championship, but Lucas Lasser, the first of the championship top four on the grid in third place, but his neighbour on the grid is Gianmarco Ercoli in the 54 car. Of course, this weekend, being finals weekend, there are double points at play rather than the regular 40 points for a race win and 35 for second. It's 80 points for a race win and 70 points for second in this race. From second down, it goes down in twos, so 68 points for third, 66 for fourth, 64 for fifth, and 62 for sixth, so on and so forth. And given how tight it is at the top of the championship, just 4 points between Ercoli and Garelli, a race win for either party would swing the championship massively in their respective favours. There is a lot that could happen over the course of this 18-lap race distance. It's highly unpredictable, but one man who's seen it all and done it twice is Lucas Lasser, and he's with Andre Viegold.
Thank you so much, Adam. I'm here with Luca Lasser, and we have to take a look into the sky again, because now it's sprinkling, but when I take a look at the asphalt, there are some wet patches, but mostly dry, right?
Yeah, that's right. You have a good analyze. So, yeah, but now we need just to wait a little bit before the last 10 minutes and to check if it will be available to put the wet tires or not, first of all, and we'll see. But yeah, it will be, in any case, it will be a long race meeting, not just this race, and we'll see the position at the end of the race meeting.
When we take a look at the championship battle, you have a really good starting position for the first race. What does it take to win the championship in Zolder here today and tomorrow, of course?
To score more points than all the other guys. No, it's just important to stay concentrated and to take points on the boss meeting, on the boss race, and we'll see.
All right, thank you so much. Merci beaucoup. Good luck.
Yeah, thank you.
Good back to you, Adam.
Thank you very much, Andre. Of course, Lucas Lasser, the Speedhouse team boss, the Po native, so a man who very much grew up within motor racing. Of course, Po, host of the legendary Po Grand Prix event. He knows his racing. He's a very quick driver, but he is also a businessman at the end of the day. He's the man in charge of Speedhouse. He has a customer to consider in EuroNASCAR 2, Eric Quintal, who shares the car with him. So the last thing he'd want to do is damage the car excessively and cause Eric to miss a race. So he does have to think with both the team boss and championship contender hats on at the same time, and that is a very difficult balance. One that he pulls off, though, to an absolutely wonderful effect. A very, very smart and wise driver is our number 64 man. But here is Andre again.
Thank you so much, Adam. Giorgio, you want to end the season on a high note after having a lot of trouble this year, but now you're in the first row, so the first step made, right?
Yeah, we had a lot of troubles, but now we're in the front, and that what counts. And we want to make it count, and I for sure want to finally grab the first EuroNASCAR win for me. So yeah, but it's going to be really tricky, especially now with the special conditions we have with a light terrain. Yeah, we'll see how the grip is. It's hard to predict, to be honest.
What about the championship battle? You know that you have guys behind you, next to you, fighting for the championship. Is this something that's stuck in your mind, or do you just say, I don't care, I want to win the race, and your battle is your battle, I fight my own one?
Yeah, at the end, we're all fighting for the full season, so I really couldn't care less. Because I want to get the position. I know they want to, I know they're fighting for the championship, but I have my sponsors, I need to do my job. So everyone for himself, yeah.
All right, thank you so much. Vielen, vielen Dank. Back to you, Adam.
The rain looks to be getting heavier out there, and I wonder if that is any connection to the bulletin we've just got. Start for this race is to be delayed by 10 minutes, so says race control. So 10-minute delay to the start of the race. And I reckon that might have something to do with the rain. The race has just been declared wet, and teams have been given the all clear to change tyres on the grid. So much like we had on Sunday at Most, we now have a situation where some drivers and teams will surely switch to the wet tyres. Of course, we had the opposite situation at Most. It was everyone on the wets, and then some went to the dry tyres. We now might have the opposite, people moving from slicks to wets. Will anyone decide that it's worth staying on the slick tyres? Will anyone be privy to the fact that perhaps it's not raining as hard in the surrounds of the circuit and they think it will dry out? It certainly looks like a significant amount of rain falling on the grid at the moment. This is real roll of the dice stuff. And on a weekend as important as this, where the championships are on the line, there is not one team on the grid that wants this situation, but it's the hands that they've been dealt. You can see just how bad it is down there at the moment. Even the dog might need an umbrella. We'll have to see which teams do what. Right now, looking at that track surface, I mean, I wouldn't want to drive on slicks in that, to be honest. It's looking pretty slippery across the board, across the length of this, or across the width of this Zolder circuit. Will anyone elect to stay on the slicks? I think that will depend on how long this rain continues to fall. If it stops raining in the next couple of minutes, then maybe someone will be brave. But right now, I would say that all signs point to treaded tyres across the board. As we said, this start has been delayed by 10 minutes. And you see there Paul Dufresne with his tyres being changed. And looking further back, I would suggest that a few other cars will go on the jacks too, but we see there that Paul Dufresne's number 3 car is being transferred from slicks to wets. All cars must be 4 wheels on the ground 5 minutes before green flag. So once the extended countdown to the green flag hits 5 minutes to go, the tyres that you're on are the tyres you'll stay on. Be just under half an hour before green flag then, as it stands, just over 25 minutes. As you can see, a lot of teams making what feels like the obvious decision right now, and that is a move to wets, because that rain doesn't look like it's going to abate. And frankly, after another 1 or 2 minutes of rainfall, it won't dry out enough over the course of the 18-lap distance to validate slick tyres. I think just about everybody is going to go onto those wets. You see there Gianmarco Ercoli's car. It's up on the jacks at the moment too. Everyone will be making that move right now. Looking around the circuit there on the various cameras, it certainly does look treacherous out there. Just hearing in my ears there from Andre, there's some word going around down on the grid, by the sounds of it, that this is only going to be a momentary shower. And so a few teams are waiting out just to see whether or not it maybe stops. Some some evidence to suggest on the radars that maybe this is only a momentary shower, but again, I look at that track surface and I can't imagine any merit to starting on the slicks, but some teams are just waiting to see whether or not it might be worth the gamble if it stops raining in the next few minutes. And to be honest, that is clever because they do have a bit of time to play with now. They can wait until there's 5 minutes left to go, or at least they can not start the tyre change until there are 5 minutes to go. Also, a bulletin I don't think I've ever seen is that drivers are allowed to rejoin their pit boxes. So I think they've given drivers permission to go and seek shelter. So interesting situation that we've got going on here at the moment. And again, what timing for the heavens to intervene on the finals weekend of the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. Seiden has a flair for the dramatic. So a reminder, Gianmarco Ercoli is your championship leader at this stage. There is Ercoli's car up on the jacks. Some information coming in now from Andre again. He says that the number 9 car, the Victor Motorsport number 9, the 65 of Riccardo Romagnoli, the 66 of Thomas Dombrowski, and the number 8 are all still on slicks at the moment, and the rain is gone. That's the critical part of that. The rain has subsided by the sounds of it. And indeed, looking at that camera shot, you can no longer see rain falling. So with the start delayed by 10 minutes, in other words, to about 20 minutes time, I do wonder whether it will dry out in time. Again, I look around these camera shots around the circuit and I see a track that isn't worth slick driving anytime soon. But the big question is, will they be ready for slicks by the end of the race? Because the thing is, if it's a significant dry line around, say, lap 10, and you can survive on the slicks to that point, then it will be worth it. There's the confirmation. 23.5 minutes until the countdown to command will be given on the delayed start time. But that's the thing. Once you get a dry line, the wet tyres will start to fall apart and be completely overheated and ruined within a couple of laps. So even if it is wet weather or wet tyre weather at the start of this race, if it isn't going to rain anymore, then maybe the slicks will come into their own in the second half of the race. This is really difficult stuff now for all of the teams. I would not want to be involved with the decision-making process right now. And the rain apparently has returned now, says Andre Vikold. So again, every additional minute of rainfall surely suggests a move off the slicks. Sure enough, the 65 crew have put wets on the car. Thomas Dombrowski and the Blake-Molen crew have put wets on theirs. At the moment, the number 9 remains on slick tyres, and I wonder if that might be the youthful bravado of Mario Ercoli, saying, absolutely not, I want to stay on the slicks if I possibly can and maybe try and win this thing. Mario Ercoli, the younger brother of Gianmarco. Seems to me that the 54 crew have got halfway through the tyre change and then stopped. Because it looks to me like there's still slicks on at least one side of that car. So I don't think everybody is fully changed onto wets yet. I think there's a little bit of skepticism from all sides right now. No one quite knows what to do with this situation. Granted, they've been given a little bit more time to think about it with the delay to the start. Here's the weekend format then. They've already been through the practice sessions on Friday. The qualifying session has already been completed this morning. And we now get into the races, about 75 kilometers in EuroNASCAR Pro, which translates to 18 laps around here. EuroNASCAR 2 will be out for a slightly shorter race later on this afternoon, as of course they both will be back out there again on Sunday as well. But 75 kilometers, about 18 laps, and you see there 3 times 30 minutes on Friday as well for the Club Challenge. We should give the Club Challenge a mention, actually, while we consider that, because we have a new champion. Well, not a new champion. We have a 3-time champion, 3 consecutive titles in the regularity element of EuroNASCAR, the EuroNASCAR Club Challenge, which rewards consistent driving rather than out-and-out lap time. Gordon Barnes, now a 3-time champion in the EuroNASCAR Club Challenge. So he is really setting himself apart from the competition there. And we've seen him in EuroNASCAR 2 at Brands Hatch, and I think he's keen to do some more fender-to-fender racing. The only 2 cars left on the slicks right now are Vict Motorsport. The rain is falling once again as the dancers continue regardless of the weather. Bless them. They have a set of cars behind them that are pretty much exclusively at this point on the wet tyres. Only Vic Motorsport left on the slicks. Of course, one exciting piece of information that's come out in the week leading to this weekend is the provisional calendar for the 2024 EuroNASCAR season. And one of the most exciting things of all is the addition of the Venray Oval, as you can see. Going back to Holland, going back to the oval circuit at Venray. We haven't had an oval on the calendar for a few years now, but great to see that we are going to go back to oval racing in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. Some slight shuffles as well, with Valencia moving forward a few weeks, Vallelunga before Brands Hatch now. And then we conclude the season with the same sequence of events we've had this year. Most, Oschersleben and Zolder, albeit now with 4 events or 4 races in each championship worth double points. So you've got the semi-finals weekend at Oschersleben and the finals, both of which with double points at Oschersleben and Zolder respectively. So more, perhaps an even more open championship than we've ever had before in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series and the return to the banked ovals. It's going to be an exciting season in 2024. Of that, we can have no doubt. There is a home favourite that many will be supporting. Anthony Kumpen in the 24 PK Car Sport car. Seems as though just about everybody is on the wet tyres at this point, and can you blame them? Because with 17 minutes until the countdown to command, the track is now looking sodden. So it's going to be pretty much wet tyres for everybody. As we said before, the only real exceptions out there now being Casso and Mario Urqueli. Again, I think in Mario Urqueli's case, he's going to roll the dice. He's a 16-year-old racing driver. He's debuting in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series Pro class this weekend. I think he's going to roll that dice, undoubtedly. There is Kumpen. Love the helmet design this weekend. You see some of the Joker references on the outfit, on the race suit, on the helmet. Kumpen has not taken a win so far this season, but he could take a championship if he uses his knowledge of this circuit, and this is his home track. This is a circuit that he has lapped thousands of times, be it in testing, be it the Zolder 24 hours, be it in FIA GT, or indeed here in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. Anthony Kumpen, probably with more track knowledge of Zolder than anybody else walking the earth. Of the very little competition he has for that badge of honor, we have Mark Goossens, who of course is here and racing in the Cal Racing 56 machine. And the only other real competition I can think of is Bert Langin, who is racing a PK car sport car in Belcar this weekend. So all of the Zolder Masters are here in some capacity this weekend. Interesting actually to know, in fact, just looking at the cars that have come out onto the circuit, in fact, is Mark Goossens there? Well, he's on my timing screen, but I don't know if Goossens is there, of course, because Sven van Leer had a massive accident in EuroNASCAR 2 qualifying earlier on. I'm sure my eyes on the grid, Andre Viegold will let us know if he's seen the 56. I can't remember if we've seen it on screen just yet, but the 56 car was in a very bad way after qualifying. So if they have managed to get it out there, very, very big news. Andre Viegold confirming that the 56 car will not be able to take the start. I think it may well be done for the weekend. So that is a huge shame for Mark Goossens. Goossens was due to start from 10th place. At one time, he was fighting for a front row place in what was a very dramatic qualifying session this morning. It was going from wet to dry, and it's rather looking like we might have the same thing here, although I'm not convinced we're going to get any dry. Andre Viegold is the meteorologist. I'll tell you that now, even though he's not. He is a meteorologist, and he has let us know that blue sky is coming. So maybe, just maybe, and he's taken a picture and put it in the media news feed as well. He thinks the blue sky might soon take over from the rain. So let's keep an eye on that as well. At this point, I think the circuit is too wet to expect it to dry out in time for slicks at any point in this race. But you never know. Circuits, of course, the surface, the build of a circuit is very much designed to have optimum drainage. So if a well-designed circuit stops being rained on, it does dry out very quickly. And Zolder is a very well-designed circuit. You can see it from overhead here. Just about 4 kilometers in length. Realistically, a few more than 11 corners with the chicanes, but officially counted at 11 corners. Some high-speed sections, some heavy braking zones. This is a circuit that really does suit EuroNASCAR to a T. We understand that Dario Casso is steadfastly sticking to the slicks. There's Andre on camera. Hi, Andre. 11 minutes and 55 seconds until the command is given, and they're repositioning the number 9 car right now. Erkley is meant to start at the very back of the grid, so I'm not sure quite what they're doing with the Mario Ercoli car at the moment. Car is going out. So have they discovered an issue with it then? It sounds like they might be taking it back into pit lane. They are wheeling it through the hole in the wall. And there's the rain, there's the story. Still damp, still at least only flecks of rain, as you can see on that puddle. There's not a huge amount of rainfall at the moment. So again, a reminder of the championship situation right now. Gianmarco Ercoli is on 285 points. Ercoli was really on a roll at the start of the season. For his closest championship competition, Vittorio Garelli, to be honest, not quite the same story. Prior to Vallelunga, Vittorio Garelli was having good pace, but not always good fortune. However, at his home circuit in Vallelunga, a circuit where he passed his racing license, suddenly that momentum came back, and he's now got 2 race victories under his belt. He's got 8 top 5 finishes so far. 8 top 5 finishes also for this man, who is with Andre now.
Thank you so much, Gianmarco. What a turn of events with the rain coming. I saw your team waiting really, really long to put on the rain tires.
Yeah, we try to wait the last moment, but in that moment arrive more rain. We change, forced to change. Today it's hard. It's very hard.
I see blue sky coming.
Yeah, it's possible in the middle of the race arrive the sun. It's very difficult, but the race is this, and it's well play in this condition.
We have Dario Caso staying on slicks. Good idea?
Are crazy. The team are very crazy. Yeah, I think it's difficult in the first, second, third, fourth. I think the situation for the slick is around the 12, 13 laps. So for 12, 13 laps, wait the moment it's hard. I can't take this risk.
You told me before the event, rain or sun, you don't care. You have a good car here, right?
Yeah, I'm sure of my car. The team doing a very good job yesterday and Thursday. I'm sure we can do very good race.
Okay, grazie mille. Thank you so much. Back to you, Adam.
It's going to be really interesting, isn't it? Now, you may be wondering, if you're unfamiliar with the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series, well, why don't they just pit and go on to slicks when the weather is appropriate? Well, the answer to that really is that in this series and any other series where pit stops aren't a regular occurrence because of the format, you haven't got necessarily the means, necessarily the personnel to make quick tyre changes. NASCAR Cup Series, of course, they literally recruit college footballers and college athletes to be part of the pit crews in the NASCAR Cup Series. That's not the case here, because there is usually no need for a pit stop. Ergo, the teams are not ready. National anthems, though. There you go, the anthems played out, and that means we're one step closer to going racing here. Funnily enough, it's going to be a chap called Fred Gabillon who is going to be the Grand Marshal when it's time for the command in a little under 6 minutes' time. Of course, Fred Gabillon was the RDV competition EuroNASCAR Pro driver at the start of the season, but elected to step aside in favour of the young man Paul Giffreau, who has really driven himself and RDV competition right back to the front of proceedings. Looks like the start of quite the performance here. Excellent stuff. Huge part of what makes the EuroNASCAR event so unique is the Americana, be it the cheerleading shows, often an American football presence, and of course, American muscle cars by the droves as well. One thing that is important to note as the dancing show carries on is that only 3 mechanics are allowed to work on cars in the event of a live green flag pit stop. So really, at most circuits, you're going to lose a lap in the process of a pit stop. It's not like Formula One or the NASCAR Cup Series where the car is driven into what is effectively a small gaggle worth of human beings and tyre changes are done in seconds. It's a very different situation. It's a rule set that isn't designed for pit stops really, because there's only usually 18 laps or so of a race. Races typically take somewhere in the region of 35 minutes or so. So it is a real conundrum for anyone that does decide to do an in-race pit stop. It has to be quite a severe situation for that to be a valid choice. And I must say, even in the time since the rain stopped, and I think the rain has been stopped for, I don't know, 10, 12 minutes, I think it looks drier. The sun is now coming out. They can't do a switch anymore, of course. Only 3 minutes left until the command, and they're not allowed to switch tyres after the 5-minute mark. So everyone's tyres are now locked in. Apparently, Dario Casso is going for the slicks, and well, the first few laps are going to be very scary for him. But yeah, no, this is very perplexing. I think we're going to have a very difficult situation. I do think we'll have something approaching a dry line before the end of this race. I don't know if it'll be much of a dry line, but it could be enough to really make it a challenge to preserve the wet tyres for the race distance. There's a lot of rain across Europe at the moment, across Northern Europe at least, and I expect it's going to be a weekend full of these kind of debates, these kind of strategical coin flips. Again, looking around the circuit, it certainly hasn't really produced much standing water, the rain shower. It is only a relatively thin layer of residual water around the circuit. And in fact, looking at the chicane here, for instance, it's, I dare say, almost dry. Okay. Well, that adds a layer. I don't think we'd seen that camera shot for a little while. There are certain sections of that circuit that I don't think were hit by the rain quite as badly as the main straight. Place your bets now. Do we see an active pit stop during the race, with the knowledge that a pit stop will take well over a minute? I think lap 10 or so will be the judgment point there. If it is dry enough for slicks on lap 10, and you think it's going to dry out significantly enough for the wet to run out underneath people, then maybe slicks are the way to go. I'm of the opinion that they're going to stay on wets for the race distance, but really struggle towards the end. We only have about 45 seconds before we have to stop with the hypotheticals and go racing, though. Grand Marshal Frederic Gabillon will soon give the countdown to command, or rather give the most famous command in all of motorsports. We're almost at the end of the countdown. And from there, we will very promptly roll on the formation lap and go racing here in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. It's round 9 of the season, the first of 2 double points races this weekend. If either Garelli or Erkeli win the race, they will cement a handy championship lead going into Sunday's season finale. But with the double point situation, a lot can swing in different directions. Go down to the command. If I'm not mistaken, the command has been given. We didn't see Fred on screen, sadly, but the command has been given. The grid is being vacated and the racing will begin now in earnest. So then, in just a few seconds, the grid will head out on the 2x2 formation lap. Good information from Daniel of the EuroNASCAR media team. He says the 55 car, that's Fabrizio Armetta, is waiting at pit exit. So Armetta is going to be starting from pit lane. The grid is rolling and Paul Giffreau leads them away. It will be Paul Giffreau on pole position with Giorgio Maggi alongside him. The youth movement of EuroNASCAR to the fore once again. Giffreau on pole position in the number 3 RDV competition Ford Mustang. Another Mustang on the front row with him in the form of Giorgio Maggi and Race Art Technology. Then it's Lucas Lasser in third place, joined by Gianmarco Erkeli. Row 3 of the grid, Vittorio Garelli alongside Vladimiros Siotzis. Row 4, Tobias Downhauer of Promotion, looking to build upon the momentum from their race winner, Oschersleben. Martin Dubeck is alongside him. Dario Casso, allegedly on slick tyres, in 9th place. We don't think Mark Goossens will be there. Anthony Kumpen in the 24 is next, alongside Gilles Delso in the number 14. Thomas Chrysonis, the young Greek, in 13th, alongside Bastian Blakemolen. A little further down the order than he'd expect in 14th. Ryan Vargas, the American racer, starting from 15th place. Great to have him and 3F Racing back with us again on EuroNASCAR Finals weekend. And as you continue to look down the order for the rest of the grid, 16th place is Thomas Tuffel. Fabrizio Armetta, 17th. Liam Hasemans with one of the biggest shocks of all. He's only 18th. Thomas Dombrowski, 19th. Yevgen Sokolovsky in 20th. 21st for Riccardo Romagnoli. And that man, Mario Erkeli, now heading out onto the circuit. But both he and I believe Armetta will be towards the back of the queue, we believe. They will form up towards the rear. Just getting some information now that safety car procedure will start at the end of the formation lap. So even though everybody is going in 2x2, the race is set to start behind the safety car. Hopefully everyone gets that memo. Certainly it looks like Giorgio Maggi is trying to go 2x2. But we are doing safety car for the first lap of this race. That is a common choice, of course, when the conditions have changed between the out laps and the first lap of the race. I suspect that we'll only do one lap behind the safety car. That's typically the protocol in this situation, where it has become wet since the cars went out on their sighting laps. Sure enough, the field goes through the Jackie Xbox final chicane with the safety car out front. I understand the 55 car might have lost some liquids while waiting at pit exit. One car there lost a piece of bodywork while heading down the main straight. I didn't catch which car that was, but someone is shedding some panels. Bizarre day that we're having so far, I would say, in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. And again, I just wonder whether it's going to dry out sufficiently. It looks like the front quarter of someone's car decided to choose its own adventure. Yeah, the wheel arch. And while the marshal did very kindly show us the decal there, I must admit I couldn't tell quite which car that was from based on that. Ah, hold on. Jimmy Erkley has damage. That damage there before? Gianmarco Ercoli's car has quite a significant gash in the front end. Has Ercoli tripped over somebody? Oh my goodness. We think that was a piece of Gianmarco Ercoli's car that was retrieved there by the marshal on the front straight. So we can have a look at the rear of Lucas Lasser. Was it Lasser that he went into the back of? Keep an eye on the back of the 64 on this shot. No, there doesn't seem to be much damage, does there? Just got a bulletin through that there's going to be one more lap under safety car conditions. So the safety car is going to stay out there for one more lap. I'll be honest with you. Okay, Dario Casso, I think, has realised that maybe not slicks, as he has now come out from the pit lane again. So I think Dario Casso moved on to the slicks. And funny enough, I was just about to say, if I were a midfielder here who'd had an undramatic but unspectacular season so far, I would be wildly tempted to move on to slicks right now. With one more lap under safety car, you won't lose a lap. I would have been very tempted to dive into the pit at that time. I would have gone the opposite way from Dario. Because yes, that main straight looks dangerous for anyone on slicks, but there are certain parts of that circuit that really don't look too wet. The 54 and 64 cars are under investigation for contact, so sure enough, as for some reason Thomas Dombrowski starts to move through the field, Dombrowski looked like he was making up some places there.
De plensbuik naar beneden kwam tijdens de startprocedure heeft de wedstrijdleiding toen besluiten om de safety car voor het veld te zetten. Dat de rijders kunnen kennismaken.
Yes, sorry, I was just train of thought there. Broken by various bulletins, the most important of which is that the safety car is in this lap. So single file restart and safety car in this lap. So no double file, which in these conditions and with that level of water down on the main straight, I'm quite happy about. Again, around this section of the circuit, maybe I just need my eyes tested, but that looks like what is effectively a dry circuit. I think these wet tyres are going to be minced over the course of the next few laps. So then, this time by, the race will begin in earnest. 2 laps complete, lap 3 this time. Lap 3 will signal the beginning of the race proper. I wonder, will anyone make a change during this race? Will anyone go for that tyre change as long as they know it will take? Again, I suspect maybe 1 or 2 might roll that dice, but by and large, I doubt it. Paul Giffro. Power off the line as the race leader as we go to green flag conditions. We are racing at Zolder on finals weekend. It's Paul Giffro that leads the way. Giffro in the lead. Maggi in second place. Lucas Lestaire still there in third place. Everyone needs to be careful in the early stages of this one. Anthony Kumpen, he's making headway early on around the outside there of Martin Dubek. And is that a change for the lead? It looked to me as though Giorgio Maggi had took the lead. Yes, he has. Giorgio Maggi in the 18 Race Art Technology car has managed to take the lead then. Varying levels of confidence from the drivers in this early stage. 1 car off the circuit there. Was that Lucas Lestaire? I think it was. Lucas Lestaire going rally crossing. So one of the championship contenders in strife. And already up to third place by the looks of it is the slightly wounded Gianmarco Ercoli. R66 under investigation for its start. So Thomas Dombrowski under investigation. Meanwhile, Giorgio Maggi at the front of the order. I'm trying to think back through the season. I don't think Giorgio Maggi has led a race so far this year. Maggi has had an incredibly rough season. A lot of issues that really were not his fault. And now, perhaps, the dice has rolled on his number at last. He leads the early stages of this race. It's going to be a trying 18 laps for everybody in these conditions. Anthony Kumpen, though, he's made a lot of headway on the first lap of the race. I think he might be as high up as 7th or 8th place already from 11th on the grid. In fact, he's higher than that. He's in 5th place, isn't he? In fact, no, he's in 9th. My apologies. He's in 9th position. No, Anthony Kumpen, I was right the first time. He is in 5th place. Goodness me. Yeah, so 5th place for Anthony Kumpen. Twice Downhauer has made up some good positions as well in 4th. Lucas Lestaire, notably not having a good first lap at all, in 6th place. Garelli, Blakemon and Siortzis and Del So rounding out your top 10. But Anthony Kumpen, perhaps all of that experience, all of that knowledge of this circuit is paying off. He knows where you have grip in the wet and where you don't around this circuit. Anthony Kumpen with the most knowledgeable right foot in the business around this circuit. Giorgio Maggi was off to one side there. He's lost the race lead. Now, did he just overshoot the chicane or something minor? Or does he have a problem? He's slotted back into the queue in 2nd place. I think he may have overshot the first chicane. Maybe Just a slight error at the Klein chicane, but Giorgio Maggi has lost the lead, unfortunately. Paul Giffreau back to the front then. Giorgio Maggi now under pressure from Gianmarco Ercoli. Jimmy Ercoli fancies another race win, which would only cement and extend his championship lead going into the title deciding Sunday. Dauenhauer, Kumpen, Lasser, Gorelli, Blekemolen, Siortsis and Delso, your top 10 last time by. Let's see if there are any shifts this time. It is Giffreau, of course, now in the lead. Maggi's car seems to be behaving okay now, so I think it was just a slight error for the young Swiss. Nice Dauenhauer on the move, having a look at the inside there of Gianmarco Ercoli. The significant changes up and down the order this time? Well, not really. Now that the cars are running at speed, it's a little bit more obvious which sections of the circuit are wet and which are not. Certainly both of the main straights, the start-finish straight and the back straight, are kicking up a lot of spray. You saw Anthony Kumpen getting his nose cut off there as well by Tobias Dauenhauer, so Dauenhauer having none of it. I think Kumpen with the best momentum out there at the moment, but Tobias Dauenhauer not letting him have it easy. Fastest lap of the race so far belongs to Paul Giffreau, though, a 1:51.830. He leads, and he's going quicker than anybody else. It's a very difficult race to predict. There is certainly a dry line there and through the back half of the circuit. I would say from the Villeneuve chicane to the Jochen Rindt box, it's not dry by any means, but it's dry enough that you could get away with slicks. The problem is that from here until the first chicane, it's still very wet. You can see Paul Giffreau already going offline to try and cool the tyres. That's going to become more and more prominent as the race goes on. Tobias Dauenhauer dives up the inside of our championship leader. Thomas Dombrowski gets a drive-through penalty for overtaking under safety car. Anthony Kumpen is overtaking under Gianmarco Ercoli. To the inside he goes and through he goes. So Dauenhauer up to third, Kumpen up to fourth. Anthony Kumpen needs good results this weekend to have any hope of a championship. He needs to outscore all of the other championship contenders. Of the championship four, he is the fourth. At the moment, he would outscore the championship leader by just 2 points. What he needs is to use all of that circuit experience to get himself at least onto the podium. If he can win, that is, of course, the optimal, with 80 points for a win and 70 for seconds, and then just 2 points separating all the positions from there, 68 for third, 66 for fourth. It cannot be overstated how major a race win would be for any of the championship four. Giffreau led the race by 2.2 seconds last time across the line. I think that may have extended further this time. Liam Hazemans has managed to get himself into the top 10 now. So Liam Hazemans, who started down in 18th place, another driver who's done some laps around here. Certainly has plenty of family members to ask about this circuit. He's all the way up into 10th place, I believe. In fact, no, I think he's now... No, he is still in 10th, but he's right on the back of Gilles Delso. There's Gianmarco Ercoli then. Lucas Lasser just behind him. Vittorio Gorelli in 7th place as well. So 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th in this race, inhabited by our championship top four. Mario Ercoli has come to a halt out there on circuit, so double yellows on the approach to the first chicane, the Klein chicane. Erkeli with damage on the car that is a legacy from contact during the safety car, as we understand it. Doesn't appear to be affecting him, but he has lost a place or two so far in the race. And he may lose another because Lucas Lasser is looking quick. Lasser hunting down number 54 at this stage. You see there Erkeli going defensive. Ooh, a bit wide as well there from Sebastian Bleekemolen. Bleekemolen, who started 14th, is now running in 8th place. So a few drivers working their way up the order nicely. Giorgio Maggi, meanwhile, starting to lose touch with the lead a little bit. 2.9 seconds now is the gap. It was 3 seconds actually last time by, so the gap has gone down marginally, but in general I think Dupro is now managing the race. And Lucas Lasser has managed to get past Gianmarco Erkeli. So Erkeli falling through the pack here, down to 6th place, and Vittorio Garelli not letting him rest for even a second. You can see that Tobias Downhauer's wiper is lifting up off of the poly, and that is not optimal at all. Funny enough, Vittorio Garelli is not even running his wiper at this juncture. But Downhauer's is waving its hands in the air like it just doesn't care. Few drivers now running without their wipers going. The rain has certainly stopped, and every single lap that we go through the wetter sections of the circuit, principally the main straight, there's a little bit less spray as well. Our leader, Paul Dufro, with a comfortable advantage right now. Of course, Dufro is not a factor in this championship battle. He is a factor in EuroNASCAR 2. But what Dufro has proven this season is that he's one of the fastest drivers, one of the best drivers in the EuroNASCAR paddock. And he's really discovered that rich vein of form because of the new collaboration with RDB competition that came into effect this season. There's Vladimiros Tsiotsis, who has struggled a little bit in these conditions. He's down to 11th place, so critically he's fallen behind Liam Hasemans, who is of course his closest combatant in Junior Trophy. Hasemans leading the championship in juniors by 10 points coming into this weekend. And Tsiotsis is going to fall further back in those standings, so Liam Hasemans at the moment in prime position to extend his points lead in the juniors. See there that Tsiotsis is under pressure from Martin Dubek, from Thomas Crossones, and also from Ryan Vargas, who is running 14th at the moment, the 3F Racing crew. Vargas, who of course is a big part of 3F Racing, the German team that wants to go NASCAR Cup racing in the future. Made its debut at Oschersleben in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. And they're hoping that that is just the start of some big things to come on both sides of the Atlantic. Vladimiros Tsiotsis, though, bit of a cork in a bottle, isn't he? He's holding up those behind him. Looks like it's hotting up inside the top 10 as well. Was that Gianmarco Ercoli under more pressure? It was. And Vittorio Garelli has gotten past Gianmarco Ercoli. So while we continue to look at this 11th place battle, Gianmarco Ercoli, our championship leader, has fallen down behind Vittorio Garelli. Martin Dubek, meanwhile, to the inside line and through into 11th place he goes, or does he? Siortzis now at the inside line for turn 2, carries the speed around the outside of T1. Oh, don't meet in the middle. Martin Dubek just cutting the nose off of the speedy Cypriot there. Martin Dubek is up to 11th place then, but more importantly, Vittorio Garelli in the 72 car is up into 6th place. We'll see him, well, we were going to see him through there in that shot, but we really need to hold on to wait to see 6th place here, because Garelli and Ercoli, the championship top 2, are having an incredible scrap for position. I think that Ercoli may have gotten back through. We really need to see 6th place and 7th place. Ercoli and Garelli, if we just hold this shot, here they come side by side. And it is Ercoli back through. There's Gianmarco Ercoli, with Vittorio Garelli making life very hard for him indeed. They head down now towards the Jackie Ick spot, and it is the championship leader back ahead. He had fallen down to 7th place momentarily. He's now back up to 6th. Just 4 points separated both of the Italian drivers at the sharp end of the standings. Garelli goes to the inside line. Has he got the car stopped? It looks like he does. He has the inside line. He's through into 6th position. Vittorio Garelli up into P6. Great move then from Garelli, but Ercoli has responded to this once. Can he do it again? Also, Anthony Kumpen has dropped himself down to 5th place, so Lucas Lasserre has moved up to P4. So all shuffling around with the championship 4. Paul Gipro remains your leader. Giorgio Maggi remains in 2nd, just ahead of Tobias Downhauer, but it's 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th. Oh, and Gianmarco Ercoli gets it wrong. Ercoli goes straight across the chicane, and here comes Sebastian Bleekemolen. Vittorio Garelli's teammate now has the opportunity to take away some points from his main championship rival. Sebastian Bleekemolen, the team boss no less, could have a pivotal role to play here in Vittorio Garelli's championship. If Garelli finishes in 6th place and Ercoli finishes in 8th behind Bleekemolen, that will tie them on the points going into the race on Championship Sunday. Paul Gipro crossing the line in the lead of this race. 2nd place, Giorgio Maggi. Tobias Downhauer 3rd. Then it's Lasserre, then it's Kumpen. So Lasserre and Kumpen have swapped, but look at this. This is hugely important now. Sebastian Bleekemolen side by side with the struggling Gianmarco Ercoli. Ercoli with damage on the car, a legacy of contact under safety car, and maybe there's some damage as well, because Sebastian Bleekemolen made that look easy. Sebastian Bleekemolen is through into 7th place, and Jimmy Ercoli isn't going to receive any favours from the driver who's now closing in on him. Liam Hazemans in 9th place is closing in on Jimmy Ercoli as well. As it stands, if the race were to finish as it is currently, it would be high points between Garelli and Ercoli. However, I'm not convinced that Gianmarco Ercoli is done fighting yet. Liam Hazemans, Ulysse Delceau, both behind Jimmy Ercoli at the moment and closing in quickly. Here are the leaders going through. Through Boulderberg goes Gorelli. And Jimmy Erkley under increasing pressure from those behind him. Having already dropped to 8th place, he must be sweating right now. Dufresne comes across the line again, still in the lead of this race. Starts lap 13 with a 1.8 second advantage. So Giorgio Maggi is closing in, and Giorgio Maggi is bringing Downhauer and Lasser with him. Now Lasser could do with a podium. He's going for the podium. Tobias Downhauer leaves the inside open. He might try and cut back on the experienced Frenchman. But Lucas Lasser is up to 3rd place. Can Lasser move any further up the order? Can he close in on Giorgio Maggi? Can he outscore Kumpen, Gorelli and Erkley by a significant margin? Looking at his current pace, I find it hard to bet against him. However, here comes Downhauer, aggressive over the curves. He's looking to take his 3rd place back. Downhauer will have the inside line into the Villeneuve chicane, but not quite as brave on the brakes as Lucas Lasser, who remains in 3rd place. He wants to try and go Giorgio Maggi hunting, but his last prey, Tobias Downhauer, still has a bit of life left in him. Meanwhile, I think Jimmy Erkley may be under pressure from Liam Hasemans. There was only 0.4 of a second between them last time across the line. If we can hold this shot, we will see whether or not there's been a change of position. Yes, look at that. Liam Hasemans has gotten past Gianmarco Erkley, and now it's Ulysse Delso who is on the back of Gianmarco Erkley. So Erkley in the 54 car is on the verge of losing 9th place as well. Ulysse Delso, who, lest we forget, is a teammate to Lucas Lasser, could do Lucas Lasser a favour or two here. This championship is going to be closer, I think, than it ever has been going into the EuroNASCAR Pro season finale on Sunday if things stay as they are. And Lucas Lasser is launching himself closer and closer to the championship leaders, because he's gone himself up into 2nd place now. He's made his way past Giorgio Maggi with a nice, easy move going into turn 2. He made it look absolutely textbook there at the Sterenbach box. And his next target is only 1.5 seconds up the road. You'd be hard-pressed to bet against Lucas Lasser challenging for the victory at this point. He is really adapting well to these wet conditions. Five laps of this race remain. And Lucas Lasser is closing in at a rate of knots on Paul Dufresne. It was 1.5 seconds between Dufresne and Maggi a lap ago. It's going to be just a couple of tenths between Dufresne and Lasser this time by. Lasser is already right on the back of Paul Dufresne, and we know where he makes his time. We've seen him so much more confident under traction out of turn 1 towards turn 2. And already Dufresne feels the need to go defensive as they approach the final chicane, the Jackie X box. They will begin lap 15 of the race this time by. 4 to go. And Paul Dufresne, who is not a factor in the championship in EuroNASCAR Pro, has one of the championship 4 just behind him. By no means is Lucas Lasser expecting Dufresne to make it easy for him, but we know that Dufresne is focused primarily on EuroNASCAR 2 and his title fight there. Lucas Lasser has some incredible pace. He may even have the lead as they emerge onto the back straight. He does. Or does he? No, not quite. Lucas Lasser still behind Paul Dufresne, but only by a couple of tenths. For a moment there, trick of the camera, I thought Lasser had gotten through. It's incredibly close between these two. But now Paul Dufresne is just, emphasis on just, doing enough. Of course, he and RDV Competition have the team's championship to consider. So even though Paul Giffreau isn't in the driver's title fight, points scored in this race for he and RDV competition will help him greatly with the team's championship for RDV. But I'm not sure Lucas Lasser is going to be tamed for that long. Ulysse Delso has gotten past Gianmarco Ercoli, so Ercoli is all the way down in 10th place now. As it stands, Vittorio Garelli, I think, would just about be championship leader. However, if Lucas Lasser takes this win, I think it might go in his direction. We will get the provisional points as soon as we can after the race. However, Lasser could do his championship bid a world of good if he can take this lead. And historically, it's been here where he's done it. Turn 1 towards turn 2. Let's see how his run is out of the first corner this time. It's not exceptional. However, Lucas Lasser is certainly looking threatening. Vittorio Garelli has Sebastian Blakemolen within a second of him, but I'm sure Blakemolen is thinking with the team boss hat on, he's not going to attack Vittorio Garelli, so I think Garelli is fairly safe in 6th. Lucas Lasser for Speedhouse, a driver who wasn't intending to do the season. He was in the car in Valencia effectively because he had a free seat, but he took a win and took the championship lead heading into round 2 at the American Speed Fest at Brands Hatch. At that point, he's a racing driver. What choice did he have but to take the rest of the season? And sure enough, as we arrive in Belgium, he is still a championship contender. Right now, he is the arch contender for the race lead. Paul Giffreau making that number 3 car as wide as possible, but Lucas Lasser, in no uncertain terms, is making life incredibly difficult for the number 3. And in fact, is Lasser through? No, not quite. Again, trick of the camera. They were side by side. For a minute, I thought Lasser had a nose ahead. They've got some lap traffic not too far ahead of them as well, I think. Giffreau there hugging the inside. Lucas Lasser, I think, contemplated diving to the inside there, but wasn't close enough to outbrake Giffreau. This is the penultimate lap of the race, and Lucas Lasser goes for it. He looks to the inside, but he can't quite get it done there. Not quite close enough into turn 2, the Sternzak box. Onto the main, or onto the back straight they go. I don't think they're quite going to close in on that Victor Motorsport car before the race ends. Certainly Paul Giffreau will be hoping that's the case, because always the driver that approaches the back marker first that has the most drama with it. Giorgio Maggi is bringing himself back into this as well. If Lasser and Giffreau start knocking several shades of excrement out of each other, it could be Giorgio Maggi that capitalises. Lucas Lasser offered only the outside line by Paul Giffreau. Giffreau is going defensive at every opportunity he can, and critically, he's not compromising his corner exits too much in the process of doing so. We wait to see them come into view properly here at the final S-bend, and it is still Giffreau in the lead. They go on to the final lap this time. I think there may have been a bit of a tap there, potentially, between Giffreau and Lasser. This is an incredible battle for the lead, and Lucas Lasser trying to pull the pin. Final lap of the race, last opportunity for him to score 80 points, and he's gotten through. Giffreau with a bad run out of the first corner, and Lucas Lasser is your race leader. Lucas Lasser is your only championship contender in the top 3. As it stands, Lucas Lasser will take a huge chunk out of the championship lead. And that championship lead, I believe, will no longer belong to Gianmarco Ercoli, who's all the way down in 10th place. Vittorio Garelli in P6, I think, should be your championship leader still. But Lucas Lasser bringing himself back into it. However, Paul Giuffreau bringing himself back into the race. A good run through the first chicane, the Klein chicane. He's not quite close enough, though, at the second chicane of Villeneuve to make a move on the 64. He's quick through those chicanes, though, is Paul Giuffreau. Giuffreau, a young driver, a very talented driver, a driver who's taking every opportunity he can to show the EuroNASCAR paddock what he's capable of. He doesn't want to have an issue with Lucas Lasser, but equally he doesn't want to leave a victory on the table. However, as they head towards the final sequence of corners for the last time, I think Lucas Lasser has just about done enough. We await them once more at the final chicane. Lucas Lasser for Speedhouse could be on the verge of a monumental victory. It was Valencia and a race win that told Lucas Lasser he was going to be a title contender. And it's another victory at the Circuit Zolder that lets everyone know that Lucas Lasser means business in Belgium. He takes the win and a huge chunk out of the championship lead. Lasser takes the win, Giuffreau second, Giorgio Maggi in third place. Tobias Downhauer has taken fourth ahead of Anthony Kumpen, who will get some solid points on the board in fifth. Vittorio Garelli, who I believe will be championship leader, taking sixth place. Sebastian Blakemolen seventh, Liam Hazemans recovering to 8th from 18th on the grid. That'll do him all manner of favours in Junior Trophy, especially because his closest title contender, Vladimir Ostiortsis, is finished in 13th. Yillis Delso 9th. Gianmarco Ercoli, who was our championship leader coming into this weekend, has finished in 10th. A huge upset. The form book burnt there. 11th place for Martin Dubeck, 12th place for Thomas Tuffel. 13th place for Siortis, 14th for Armetta, 15th for Ryan Vargas. So Vargas finishes where he started, which is exactly what he did at Oschersleben. I dare suggest he'll want a better finish than 15th on Sunday, though. But what a win for Lucas Lasser as he rolls towards victory lane, knowing that his title chances have been refreshed. Cars head back towards paddock then. Lucas Lasser, your race winner. What was an incredible race. The Speedhouse team boss, the number 64, did a sensational job. I think they've accidentally sent Lucas Lasser away from... In fact, no, they have sent him towards victory lane, which is good. I was a little bit worried that he'd been sent the opposite way, but that was not the case, thankfully. His chances in the championship will have been greatly boosted. We will have provisional points in just a few moments. Again, a massive word to Razor of the EuroNASCAR media team, who is currently furiously calculating the point situation. Andre Viegold, meanwhile, in discussions with Lucas Lasser, who is awaiting the chance to get out of the car and celebrate a critical race victory. If there's any weekend with the current format where you want to do well, it's the double point season finale. Of course, next year, there are 2 double point rounds at the end of the season. So race victories can be even more valuable in the tail end of the year. 64 car makes its way, or the 64 car has made its way to victory lane. The rest of the cars heading back into the garages. Some will be happier than others. As we see the number 9 car getting towed back. But I think for Gianmarco Ercoli, there is going to be a level of frustration, a significant level of frustration. For Alberto Nasca, racing in EuroNASCAR 2 later on, there's going to be concern because, of course, that's his car that he's racing later on. And if there's been an issue in that race, then we will hope that is rectified before the EuroNASCAR 2 event for sure. There's young Mario Ercoli, who sadly didn't register a finish on his debut in EuroNASCAR Pro. Lucas Lasserre's debut in EuroNASCAR Pro is distant history, but his most recent victory, less so. The 64 car to the fore once again. A great result, a huge success for Lucas Lasserre, just his second victory of the season. His 6th top 5 of the season, though. He has been consistent all year long. The only significant setback that I can recall is a non-finish at Oschersleben after what appeared to be a puncture. But Lasserre has been great this season, and now he will celebrate with the team. Top the points situation. Let's cover that very quickly before we go to Andre. Lucas Lasserre, championship leader on a provisional basis. 344 for Lasserre, 343 for Vittorio Gorelli is what we understand. So Lucas Lasserre, I thought he'd be close to the championship lead. He will have the championship lead on a provisional basis. Gianmarco Ercoli on 339, Anthony Kumpen on 326. Liam Hazeman's on 310 as well. So he's strengthened his chances in Junior Trophy. Lucas Lasserre, meanwhile, down there celebrating. We'll hear from him with Andre in a minute. I see that he's now walked off from Andre, so my apologies, Andre, for losing your driver, but he's just on the other side of the car, so he's not too far away. However, Lucas Lasserre with a provisional championship lead by 1 point going into round 10 of the season. Andre, he's there with you at the moment. Wow, what a finale we're set up for now.
Yeah, thank you so much, Adam. Luca, as a racing fan, I was watching this race and I was, whoa, what the hell are you doing? It was so amazing. Just tell me what it's like to be in the car.
I told you before the race meeting that I'm a lion. My kid is a small lion. He competes today in karting, but I'm a lion here in Zolder, and I push every time. Just I stay focused 100%. Every time, every day, just on me, on my driving style, on the setup with my crew mechanics. They work very, very, very hard, but with a lot of good atmosphere. And it's a part of Speedhouse, my team, Speedhouse team. And yeah, when I'm on the car, I'm a lion, and I teach to every drivers on my team to be a lion and to never give up, just to be totally concentrated on them, and after we'll see.
Based on the provisional point standings, we calculated them. You are first now in the championship in EuroNASCAR Pro.
Yeah, maybe, but it's important to be tomorrow first.
All right, merci beaucoup. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I just take a lot of fun during a race. It was the pure race that I like as a NASCAR, you know. It was a NASCAR race with the pure drivers. Here it's a track for drivers, not for eventual, okay, setting for the setup, but it's also for the drivers. And I'm happy to take 200% pleasure on my car.
Amazing. You know what's coming up now? I know it's a little bit long time ago. You were one of the first to get one of those beautiful winner stickers. Here's the next one for you.
go. The sticker is applied to the 64 car. Lucas Leclerc with the championship lead provisionally by 1 point. He just said it himself. Tomorrow is the day that you need to be first. And well, he will be starting from first. He had the fastest lap in that race. Therefore, he will have pole position as well. Fastest laps determine the grid. And Lucas Leclerc will be starting from pole. So championship lead and pole position. Meanwhile, Gianmarco Ercoli had an absolute horror show of a race. This is going to be really compelling stuff going into the season decider. I'm salivating at the prospect of what might be on Sunday. Lucas Leclerc, who came in third in the championship, gave us reason to believe that he might be good this weekend, but I don't think anyone expected him to lead the championship going into Sunday. That's the situation we've got, though. The man who will be just 1 point back, despite finishing off the podium, is Vittorio Garelli. As you can see, Vittorio is down there with Andre, so hopefully in just a second we'll switch over, and there he is. So let's go speak to Vittorio.
Thank you so much, Adam. Vittorio, it was a crazy race with the rain coming in at the beginning, and we had a lot of overtaking maneuvers, a lot of drama in the race. Just tell me, what was it from your perspective?
Yeah, the start was very bad because my wiper wasn't working, so I couldn't see nothing at all. It was the screen was completely all white for me. You know, with a lot of cars, with all the spray, I could see nothing. So I lost so many positions, and also in the qualifying, we were supposed to do all the drivers 2 flying laps, the same amount, but some drivers did 3 laps. They did a bit of a mess with the flags. So with the drying track in qualifying, everybody improved in the last lap. So instead of starting second, I started 5th, and it's always different, you know. But yeah, then I managed to pass the 54. I went a bit in front, but I used so much the tires. The pressures in the end were just on the limit. So it was a tricky race, but yeah, good points. But yeah, it will be on tomorrow.
Tomorrow is going to be all in, I guess. So the win is the least thing you have to do to win the championship, because we saw all the championship contenders struggle a little bit, but Lucas Leclerc now taking over the championship. When you're in a car that is maybe at 99%, what can you do as a driver to make it 100% to 110% to win the race?
Yeah, you have to obviously try your best, but yeah, starting in the front helps a lot in this track, but we will see what we can do. For sure, I'll do all in or nothing.
All right, thank you so much. Grazie mille, congratulations. Vittorio Garelli, back to you, Adam.
There you go, Vittorio Garelli with a good shot at the title. A shame that his wiper let him down then in the early stages of the race. However, he still has a very good shot at success on Sunday with his result in that race. What a spectacle we've got in prospect. The top 4 in the championship, as it stands, are closer together than they were at the beginning of the race, which is an incredible scenario. Lucas Leclerc, your championship leader. The 64 car at victory lane as it stands, and certainly with 1 point between Leclerc in the lead and Garelli in second place, and Gianmarco Ercoli on 339, just 5 points back from the championship lead. It could go any way. If either Leclerc, Garelli or Ercoli win on Sunday, they won the championship with 80 points for the win and 70 for second. That is how it would play out. Anthony Kumpen now with a more outsider shot at 326 points. He's 18 points off, but of course he's only got one race left to try and secure the title. But for Leclerc, Garelli or Ercoli, a race win will net the championship for either of them. So even though we don't use the playoff format here, it kind of is a playoff situation. He who wins, if it's any of those 3, will be the champion. This is very exciting stuff in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. Leclerc, Garelli, Ercoli and Kumpen will be your championship top 4. With Lucas Leclerc as the championship leader, he will be the man on the top step of the podium. course, in the juniors, Liam Hasemans now has a fairly sizable lead in that championship, with Tobias Dauenhauer, I think, now superseding Vladimiros Siortsis in the junior trophy as well. Lucas Lasserre made a critical overtake there at the beginning of the final lap of the race. He left it till late, but Lasserre did everything that he needed to do. We await the podiums. There will be 3 podiums. Of course, one will be for the overall race results, one will be for the junior trophy, and one will be for the challenger trophy. Challenger trophy was once again won by Thomas Tuffel. Meanwhile, Paul Dufresne was, of course, the winner in junior trophy, taking 2nd overall. Meanwhile, 3rd overall in the race, Giorgio Maggi. Maybe will feel like he could have done more. He was leading at one point. However, 3rd, a podium finish for Maggi is a happy result for him. But no one is happier than Lucas Lasserre, who stepped up beside Paul Dufresne, the man he overtook on the final lap. Lasserre, a race winner for the 2nd time this season, and now your championship leader. Trophies then presented. Giorgio Maggi receives his 3rd place and his bottle of Guerin family Pano. Presented by Pierre Bellet. Paul Dufresne receives his trophy for 2nd place. A solid result for Dufresne and for RDV competition as well. Should be another big step forward for RDV competition in the team's championship as well with that number 3 car. If anything, I think they may already have the lead at this point going into the finale in the team's championship. But Lucas Lasserre, on a provisional basis at least, will be your championship leader going into Sunday, and is a race winner here at Zolder. So then, Lucas Lasserre celebrating on the top step of the podium. It will be a delight for the Frenchman. I think the cameraman may have been prompted to save himself there, because here comes the confetti, here comes the champagne. It's stupendous at Speedhouse as Lucas Lasserre takes a 2nd race win of the season. It was that initial victory in race 2 at Valencia that signalled his potential to be a championship contender this year. While he has not reached those heights again in subsequent rounds, He's picked the perfect time to return to the top step. The Junior Trophy podium is up next.
There we go. In third position,
It's Downhauer stepping up to the third step of the podium for Hendricks Motorsport. Giorgio Maggi hops up to second place. Show of athleticism from the Swiss driver. And Paul Giffreau to the top. Another win in Junior Trophy. He's unlikely to be anywhere near the top of Junior Trophy come the end of the weekend. He's not going to take that Junior Trophy title, of course. He only debuted in the third round of the season in EuroNASCAR Pro. His life aspirations are firmly focused on the race happening later on for EuroNASCAR 2. Nonetheless, Giffreau has been really impressive this season. He's brought RDV competition back to the sharp end with the help of his predecessor Frédéric Gavillon and the entire team.
And the call for the goal of Pino. Well done, gentlemen, in Junior Trophy. EuroNASCAR Pro 1 driver.
Paul Giffreau holds his trophies aloft. He'll be hoping to do the same thing in a short while. It'll be 4:30 local time, so in just over 2 hours that we go live with EuroNASCAR 2 and their first double points race of the weekend. Junior Trophy podium is completed. We still have one more trophy to present though, the Challenger Trophy. So we need to go back to the podium to see that. It will be a return to the podium for Yevgen Sokolovsky, who has been missing from the last few rounds. He's been a very busy boy this year between GT3s and GT4s, as well as EuroNASCAR. I think he's picking and choosing what he wants to do on any given weekend, and Yevgen Sokolovsky takes a third step of the podium. Second to Fabrizio Armetta. And Thomas Duffel to the top step once again. Armetta looking strong in the Challenger Trophy. He's had a great year in the number 55. And with the help of the team down at the Club Motorsport, he'll be looking to end his season on a high and secure the Challenger Trophy on Sunday. Trophy presented to Armetta. Thomas Duffel will receive the winner's trophy in just a few seconds. He'll be looking for a strong result on Sunday as well. What will the weather bring on Sunday? That's going to be the critical question for the drivers of EuroNASCAR Pro, because the rain that fell while we were doing the grid walk today really set into motion a chain of events that caused a lot of drama for championship contenders. We saw the damage on Gianmarco Ercoli's car. Sounded like there was contact. We saw the investigation for Leclerc and Ercoli flash up on screen after that damage. Gianmarco Ercoli's car, we understand from the crew down at Cal Racing, was damaged, suboptimal performance, and that dropped him down to the fringes of the top 10, while Lucas Leclerc took a race victory. Drama and a changing picture in the championship. It will be decided at 1:30 p.m. tomorrow, but make sure you join us for the EuroNASCAR 2 race at 4:30 p.m. Central European Summer Time. We will see whether Alberto Nasca and Vladimiros Tsiotsis can continue to battle with Paul Giffreau. Make sure you join us there.